What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Brandon's Face. It's the podcast about a playlist. I'm Jonathan Beardsley.
And I'm Brandon May.
We hope you're all doing well. It's been a busy week in the music industry. There is all sorts of little news out. The various Warped Tour lineups are out. The crossed set times are out. I think some variations of Brownies and Lemonade Takeover in Chicago, which is a pretty insane lineup, is out. But the only one we really want to touch on before getting into this week's show is the final tour of Wu-Tang Clan that is noteworthy in itself, but to make it even more so, Run the Jewels is coming back to be the openers for quite an extensive arena tour that it seems to be swinging through most parts of the US. What are your thoughts on this, man?
My thoughts are good for Run the Jewels, man.
Yeah,
I hope that it means RTJ5 at some point. Hopefully we'll get a new single or something. But yeah, man, bummed Wu-Tang is this is their last tour. Hopefully it'll be like a Slayer final tour where it's really just a final tour once a year for, a decade. But but yeah, man.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty cool. I have not decided whether or not I'm going or not. It's going to be a fun show. Mike posted a thing about, how much Run the Jewels means to him and how excited they are to do this. I'm sure LP feels a very similar way. It's very cool. And with Mike and LP both being around their 40s now, I do think there's a good chance RTJ5 happens because they're going to be so bored just hanging on the bus instead of partying now that they're gonna have nothing
Right.
to do but record. So I do think that that's a good chance, man. But this is fucking awesome. I love that. Like, I don't want to be that guy, but let's be real. I don't think Wu-Tang would have gotten the arenas they did if Run the Jewels didn't agree to be the opener. And I'm could be speaking out of my ass here, but I think that it's very cool for Run the Jewels to be on this for multiple reasons.
Yeah, no, I don't think you're speaking out of your ass this time. Most of the time, yes, but not this time.
And that's why you're my co-host, man. All right, dude, we got a ton of music to talk about this week. Let's get into it. We got a new one from Riva Starr and Flight Facilities called Know You Love Me. I had to kick off this week's playlist with a song that I just loved the vibe of instantly. The second I previewed this one, I was like, yep, that's going to be our opener this week, man. Incredible collaboration all around. What do you think of it?
Oh, for sure. You know I love it when Flight Facilities goes disco.
Exactly. Exactly where they should be. All right, we got a new one from Jamie Jones and Green Velvet. Butterflies is the name of this one. Same thing. I saw Jamie Jones, I saw Green Velvet. I blindly added it because that's what any rational person
Right.
would do, but I was right too, man. This track is so good. I wish we had the extended mix already, but this is pretty awesome.
Yeah, man. This is like a classic early 90s house banger. Like
Yeah.
this is so good.
How do you do? It's so good, man. Love
Right.
it. All right, we got this new one from Kolsch and Neon Capital called Kids. What are your thoughts on it?
As is tradition from Mr. Kolsch, Hair Kolsch. We get a gorgeous and melodic, just melody-filled track, man. This dude doesn't miss, man.
Agree, dude. Masterful synth work as always by Kolsch on this one. Good stuff. Two new tracks from DLR, one featuring podcast favorite Alex Perez. They're called So Here It Is and Counting the Pennies. Both bangers, but to my surprise, as much as I love Alex Perez, Counting the Pennies is my favorite of these two tracks, man. I love that decaying synth, the way it kind of drags throughout. It's really, really good, man. What'd you think of these two?
I that's so funny. I like So Here It Is a little bit better than Counting the Pennies, but you're right, they're both bangers. These are both fantastic drum and bass tracks. I hope that they're not going to go under the radar too much. Did you know that The Hood in Palm Desert was having a drum and bass night?
You told me about that, and I'm not surprised that they were because I have played EDM nights there. But man, it's funny to think that I was doing that 10 years ago, and it felt like, how much longer can they keep doing this? The answer is forever, as it should be. If any of our listeners are ever in the Palm Desert area, swing by a little dive bar called The Hood. Grab yourself a beer and a piece of pizza. Do they still have pizza?
I think they still sell pizza, but they don't
All right.
sell the tater tot pizza anymore, and it's really upsetting me. I haven't been back since I found that
As
out.
long as it's the same trash oven, same little kitchen making this shit, it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be all you want for that type of place. Go support the hood.
Most
Um,
definitely.
all right, man. We got a new one from The Hacker called Turbo Rave. What'd you think of it?
Banger, bro. My God.
Yeah, dude. At first I thought it was pretty straightforward, but it's so well produced. It's gonna have live crowds going insane, man. Really, really well done.
Yep.
Another new one from Dr. P and Flux Pavilion, Feel Good LTD. I'm so glad dubstep is coming back, man. It's fun and we need fun right now. What'd you think of this new one from them?
Yeah, I like this single a little less than the last one, but it's so much fun, like you said, hearing these two collab again, man.
Yeah, dude, I totally agree. Not quite as much fun, but I do think this album is going to be a great time.
It will be like an actual, like really good time, you know?
Yes.
Like,
Dying for your thoughts on this next one. So Ray Ray, DJ Me, and Chill. I think I like you is the name of this one. This song coming into my orbit is the rare case of the algorithm working for me. I saw an ad that Chill was playing at a club in Portland a while back on like Instagram or something, and there was a clip of her music over it. That clip was good enough to get me to like look her up. After looking her up, hitting play, that was good enough for me to hit follow. This is the first track she's released since then, and holy shit, man. Not just a banger, just one of those tracks that somehow gets better and crazier as it goes. I love everything about this one, man. What are your thoughts on it, though? I've been dying to get them all week.
I'm so glad I got context because I heard it and or I looked at it and I was like, who the fuck are these people? We've literally never talked. We've been talking about music for a decade plus, and yeah, I definitely fuck with this. This is so much fun, man.
It's insane. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I figured you would, and I figured it would catch you off guard a little bit. I'm glad it did.
Yeah,
I do not know how to pronounce the name of this next artist, but it's a German song. Talk to me about this one, man.
I think it's Klingunstler.
Love that.
I think I don't know. I don't speak German. This is way too much, bro. This is
Yeah,
way
dude.
too much.
Wh why do the vocals remind me of Technologic? Like I
I
don't
know,
know.
right? So
The
Glenn
cadence?
Gunstler is with the rise of the TikTok techno, this guy has come onto my radar and I clicked follow on Spotify. I've listened to a couple of his mixes. Well, rather skimmed through because you can't do, I don't know how people do an hour plus of this. This is I'm tired just fucking thinking about that. This is not my thing, but apparently it's a lot of people's thing. So good for them.
Never say the words TikTok techno on this podcast ever again, please, sir. Yeah, not for me either. Weird track. All right, let's move into the pop realm of things for a bit. We got some interesting music. New one from Dove Cameron. This one's called Too Much. This is this is my song of the week, and this is kind of a surprise to me because I thought it was like just okay the first couple of times I heard it, but it crawled its way into my brain. I obviously now love it enough to say it was my favorite of the week, but it's so much different than what we heard from her on Alchemy Volume 1 like a year or so ago. This sounds like if Lady Gaga made Crash by Charlie XCX, like great combination of words, but very unexpected based on the previous style of pop that we heard her doing. Kind of similar to like Madison Beer's latest few singles, a lot more electronic and danceable. Still undeniably pop though. I'm a fan of this one. What about you, man?
You know, that's so funny, bro. I wrote it's Lady Gaga meets Kylie Minogue, but
Sure.
I see your Charlie reference here. Yeah, man, this is so much fun. This is a great dance pop track for sure.
Yeah, I have not seen anything like regarding if she's going to do Alchemy Volume 2 or if this is just the beginning or a Lucy, but I'm sure we'll get more info soon. Talk to me
Yeah.
about this next one though, man. The Destruction of the Cult of the Sun Afterglow. I just saw you threw this on and I was like, this is either going to be EDM or metal. No, Brandon, you surprised me and threw on a random pop artist I've never heard of. Where the hell did this come from?
No clue. I click follow on a lot of people on Spotify, and every once in a while one pops up, and I'm like, oh, this looks cool, and it did. I clicked on it because it looked cool. The artwork obviously reminds you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually thought I was gonna listen to something like I don't know, Ligua Ignata like adjacent, you know. But no, this is most definitely a pop artist. This is really fucking good, man.
Yeah.
It's like really fucking good.
Yeah, very much my thing, which I was not expecting. Never heard of it before, but like you said, man, just really, really good. Definitely have to check out more from them.
Most definitely.
All right, new one from Jenny featuring Dochi Extra Large is I think that's what they were going for with the name of it. Extra L, I think is technically the name. Jenny holds her own trying to do the K-pop rap thing, but it was inevitable. Dochi steals the show the second she comes on the song and never really relents. What do you think about this one?
Dochi steals pretty much every show that you put her on.
Yeah.
This is honestly a great collab for both of them. Like you said, I mean, Jenny tries, and that's good. But look, Jenny needed some cred in like the TDE verse, and
Mhm.
Dochi crushes this, and will now be noticed by some K-pop fans, and we'll see how that works
Yeah.
for
You're
both of these
right.
people.
You're right. It's funny though, man. I feel like in my head I'm already like Dochi's blown up so big because when I saw this, I'm like, man, she got Dochi. That's a big get. Like it's crazy that like I think getting Dochi at this point means a lot, honestly. Because
Well,
not so much that she demands a lot of money, just that she really only seems to do songs that she wants to do.
Well, and it's also important to recognize that like a track like this in the K-pop world probably takes months and months and months to
Yeah, sure.
release. It's unlikely that they were in the studio three
There's a
weeks ago
video
doing
for
this.
it. Yeah. Yeah, there's a
It's
big video.
likely they were in the studio 6 or 7 months ago at like the earliest when Dochi really hadn't even dropped when Alligator Bites Don't Heal. And
Yep.
congrats to Dochi, man. She deserves all of the flowers that she's been getting. She deserves all the money she's charging for her features. Fuck yeah. I might throw it in the show notes. I don't know if you listened to it. I sent you the Killer Mike interviews Dochi
I saw that.
from I
Yeah.
believe the Grammys something or other. And you know what, man? Fuck yeah, dude. Dochi has just been crushing it. Um, and
Agree,
yeah,
man.
let's go.
Let's go Dochi. All right, new one from 88 Rising. Yuha and Warren Hugh are the name of the artists on this one. Song's called Body. Thought it was a bop. The beat is so fun. Their styles go very well together. It's just a fun song. What'd you think about it?
Most definitely a bop. I love the production on this one, man. 88 Rising has kind of always perplexed me as a label, but I'm here for this one.
Yeah. Think of it more as a collective. I think that's the way I go, and it
I
bugs me
refuse.
less.
I won't do that.
Fair enough. All right. We got a new one from Don Tolliver, J-Hope, produced by Pharrell called Louis Bag. I wanted to like this one. I'm a fan of the three main artists on it, but just never grew on me, man. That's life though. What do you think about it?
So this is I had like a weird moment with this song, man. I saw it was Don Tolliver featuring Speedy, J-Hope, and Pharrell Williams. And for a second, like a split second, I was like, did Speedy J work with Don Tolliver? That is not the case here. And I'm kind of glad for that. That's all right.
Yeah, it's just yeah. I is a apt word. I'll give you that. New one from Buddy and Kalan FRFR called On the Way. Nothing flashy, but Buddy excels over these beats as always. Man, what do you think about
I love your Kalan FR and not for real for real.
it?
But he has a pretty unique flow on pretty much all of his music, man. This is a really catchy track and showcases a lot of why we like him.
Yeah, dude, I agree. Another new one from IDK called Mario Coins. I think he put out like a mini EP deluxe edition of his last album after this track, but this is the newest song from him. Feels like quintessential IDK. The Mario Bars line is pretty good. What do you think about it?
This is so silly, bro. I love him for this.
Very, very silly. Yeah, keep IDK silly. That's what I always say.
Real.
New one from DJ Paul and Crazy Bone called I Go Dumb. The old head in me is eating up the 3-6 Bone Thugs collab here, even though it's just like one member from each doing a song like this. But I really liked this, man. What about you?
I saw this come up on my releases and I was like, no fucking way.
Believe it, man. The year is
That's great.
2025. Count
These
nothing out.
these dudes can still get it. And I guess have to include Crazy Bone collab on my bingo card for every year going forward.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Crazy Bones still out there, man. All right, let's go. We got two new ones from I think it's the Black Soprano family now. I don't think it's Griselda, but it's Benny the Butcher and Conway the Machine. The songs are 30 ounces in a Mercedes and Pick a Side. I'm usually a Conway guy. This is the rare release where I'm going with the Benny track slightly more. It's nothing new from either guy. I know Mike Tyson is from New York, but like Benny needs to learn about at least one other rapper to reference. Like the Tyson bars are cool, but come on, give me one other boxer, please. What'd you think of these two?
Come on, Benny. Learn New York history. Yeah, man, like you said, it's nothing new from either of these two. I don't think I ever want either Benny or Conway to do anything new. Like they are so locked in on this, man. Just keep rapping over some dirty ass fucking piano samples and I'm good, you know?
Yes. Yeah, more of that in rap music today, please. All right, we got a new one from J. Cole called Clouds. I think this is the best J. Cole has sounded in a very long time. I know the beef didn't do a lot for his recent legacy, but he does remain one of the best of his era, maybe all time, depending on your preferences. This is all he really needs to do to win people back. Just remind people how great he can be when he's in the right headspace and over the right beat. I think both of those are the case here. What did you think of this one?
I 100,000% agree with you, man. J. Cole, when he gets in his groove, is an incredible rapper and lyricist. This is one of the best things he ever did was remove himself from that K dot beef because number one, he was about to get destroyed if Kendrick had any dirt on him. The guy seems pretty wholesome. But man, I'm glad to hear him in his zone again, man. He's clearly in his zone, a little refreshed. I want to hear more of this. It's been a minute, like you said, and this is very clearly the best we've heard from J. Cole in a minute. So
Yeah, I agree. All right, we got a new one from The Faint, Brokers, Priests, and Analysts. What are your thoughts on this one?
the sentence "we got a new one from the Faint" is so amazing, John. Look, my heart fucking jumped when I saw this on my list of releases. They are actually apparently releasing a deluxe for their record from 1999. I'm not mad at that at all. We
Crazy.
got new Faint music, and fuck yeah.
Dude, a deluxe from 99. We need more albums that came out in 99 to get retroactive deluxes right now. It's
Right?
crazy how good they still sound after all these years, man. This is great.
And this could have been a song that they recorded and just kind of tabled for
Sure.
26 fucking years, but I don't care at all. This is great.
I agree, man. New one from Fontaines DC. It's amazing to be young. Loved the last album. This song just did not do it for me, or at least it hasn't yet. What about
No,
you?
no, you're totally right on point. This is a good pop song. It's like decent pop song.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
fine. It doesn't feel like Fontaines DC. Somebody had posted a photo of what like they're dressing all extra now, and I was like, oh no, come on, guys. There's no
Oh.
need to look like that.
You either die a legend or live long enough to see yourself become the villain, man. All right. We got a new one from Movements, Where I Lay is the name of this one. They're on a few of those Warp Tour lineups that came out today. Their sound is so distinct that I can tell it's a Movement song within the first 2 seconds by the way the guitars and drums sound alone. And I think that's a great thing. This song's really, really good. I enjoyed it. What about you?
Yeah, you know that I love this song, bro. Please more of this.
Yeah. Movements rocks, dude. Big fan of Movements. All right, new one from Trash called Drip Fed. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, this is fucking great, bro. I don't know where I found trash, but I threw this on because yeah, this is some pop fucking punk.
Yeah, man, I love how groups like Trashed and Heart Attack Man are keeping this style of pop punk not just alive, but very strong.
Yeah, it's like it's got this like I don't know if it's the mixing or if it's the like specific like distortion pedal they use or something, but it's got this like super riffed up sound. It just sounds so beefy, but it's very much still pop punk, and I enjoy it. I really like this track.
I did too. Talk to me about this new one from Ghost Bath, Rose Thorn Necklace.
okay, we have a new album from Ghostbath. It releases on, I believe, May
Yeah.
9th. I really like this track. I've been a fan of Ghostbath for at least a couple of years now. Me and my boy Christian, shout out Christian, both love their music. I cannot wait for this one, man. Did you like this one?
I did as well, man. Yeah, May 9th is the day that one comes out. This is the first single off of it, so we will be following along with the rollout as it happens. This is
Yes,
a hell
sir.
of a start to it, though, man.
Yep.
All right, doing from In the Woods, the things you shouldn't know, leave it to the Scandinavians to make metal that's heavy as fuck with very little screaming. This is pretty damn good, man. I liked it. What about you?
Scandinavian black metal, man. What else could you possibly want in life?
That's all, man. Death taxes and Scandinavian black metal. That's all you
Right.
need.
That's all you need.
Uh, all right, do it from Machine Head. I've seen people talking about this one quite a bit online in some metal forums. It's called Unbound. I personally didn't love anything about this track, but I liked almost all of it, if that makes any sense. What are your thoughts on this one? Where do you lie with them?
I love Rob Flynn's guitar work. I always have. I found Machine Head way back in the early 2000s when I was frantically finding more metal to consume. And Machine Head came up and they've been doing it since the early 90s. And my God, let them cook. Outside of that, this track is okay. The vocals kind of take it away from me a little bit, but the guitar work and the instrumentals, the drumming is fantastic. But I know what you're saying and I hear it, you know?
Yeah, yeah, it really is just the vocals on this one. The music's pretty great. New one from No Spun called the Effervescent Power. It's a little on the nose, but it's like self-aware camp, and for that reason, I think it works. I ended up liking this one. What about you?
I'm glad you did. I actually added this blind because I was like, oh, new No Spun. And then I realized that it's actually a re-recording of one of their early EPs, and that
Ah,
might put that campiness into perspective that you got here. This sort of genty riffing has been absent from their more recent music that I tend to like a bit more. But this is it's pretty good for what it is.
I agree. I agree. Last single this week is a new one from the Warriors. What a sentence. This one's called My Blood. My reaction to the Warriors being back and this song is just fuck yeah, dude. All about it. What'd you think about it?
Sacramento hardcore forever.
Thank you. Thank you. Couldn't have said it better myself. Hopefully we have a new album on the way. I haven't really seen anything regarding that yet.
We'll see.
All right, we got a couple EPs this week to talk about. First up from Joey Badass called Pardon Me. So, Joey taking aim at the West Coast might not excite a lot of modern rap fans, but I'm kind of here for it. He is not slept on as much as just looked over by kids who grew up on a different style at this point. But his last album, I think, not my favorite of his, but nothing on it indicated he wasn't as sharp as he once was when he was coming up and was more hungry for attention, I guess. This is at least trying to turn some heads. It might not work, but why not say something if you have something to say? And he clearly does at this point. The production on these is really good. I like it, especially the ruler's back. The damn bar I rap like I draw pentagrams and kill chickens. One of my favorites of his in a while, man. There's a few other gems on this EP as well. Definitely worth checking out. I'm a fan of it. What about you?
I'm also a fan of it. Joey has a great flow on all of these tracks, and the conductor beat on "Sorry Not Sorry" is insane.
Yeah.
I'm stoked for whatever else he puts out always.
Yeah, I think we got more on the way. We'll see. Talk to me about this new one from Electric Rescue, Sweet J.
Well, aside from the first track, which is honestly just god awful, terrible, this with those like completely non-synced sequence, anyways, the rest of the CP is fucking great and exactly what I expect from Electric Rescue.
Yeah, man. He does not take time off. Why would he? He just
Right,
he just
right.
keeps making me keep making tunes. I would do the same if I could like this. It's another solid release. Like you said, High Start's not my favorite either, but this is his second release of the year already.
Yep.
Mostly all solid music. So shout out Electric Rescue.
Shout out.
All right, man, we got some albums to talk about this week. The first of which is the new Silverstein. Tell me your thoughts on their new one, Anti-Bloom.
Hi, John. The time has come. Silverstein has done it again. Misery, I'm sorry, Mercy Mercy is fucking great, bro. I knew that Silverstein was going to open with a banger, but this one actually got me. I know it got you too because you texted me about it.
Yep.
That's exactly what they did on this one. They opened with a heavier track, rolling right into two of the singles that we've both known and loved for a few weeks now. I just want to take a second. I've seen a lot of, I don't know, I wouldn't call it hate, but like maybe a little bit of disdain for Confession. And I saw that song live, and I will say that this song fucking rules, dude. I'm like in the car singing my fucking heart out to Confession pretty much all the time. There's no screamy or whatever on this song, but it's emotionally charged, and the strings
Yeah.
they add in and the passion on this track, all fucking great. Um, don't let me get too low is also great. It gets stuck in my head and has been for weeks. Then we get into an album cut, A Little Fight. It's this short little ditty that has this fantastic melody and some really emotional lyrical content. It leads directly into Skin and Bones, which we covered as a single. I loved it when we dropped. We don't got to talk about that one. Another album cut, I Will Destroy This, is honestly one of my least favorite tracks on the album, and it's still a banger. Um, it's like
Mhm.
hard to come to terms with it that like that's the one I think I like the least, but I still love it out of all of these tracks. Stress, I think, is going to be my standout on this one, man. The frenetic energy that the band brings,
Yep.
the fantastic switches from cleans to screams, and then that whisper that maybe I'm is so good, man. Uh,
Hmm.
Classic trademark Shane Told. I wasn't too sure about Cherry Coke when I first heard it, but it's grown on me quite a bit. Overall, for the first of two albums on this year in 2025, it's just 22 minutes of bangers, John. And I
Yep.
love it. Anybody who knows me knew that I was going to love it. But you know, it's a nine for me. Stress or just throw a dart at it. Like they're all good, but I think Stress is going to be my standout on this one. What'd you think?
Stress is great. Yeah, man, this album rips. Harder than I thought it would actually. Uh, That's evident from the opening track, like you said. Mercy Mercy just blows the fucking doors off this album in the best way possible. Don't Let Me Get Too Close, followed by Confession, makes this first like three-song run. It just makes the album instantly something to remember as far as I'm concerned. If people are bitching about Confession, they can go fuck off. Who cares? A Little Fight is closer to an interlude than a full song, but I think it still works. I'm only a little bit bummed about it because the album is only 8 songs, and one of my only knocks on it is how I wish it felt a little more substantial. But with another album on the way later this year, I totally understand them making this album as short as it is. I just hope the next one, when it comes out, I don't wish that they had released them all at once to begin with, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Getting back to this album, the next track, Skin and Bones, which I believe was the lead single. This is the one I've always had some issues with. I know you kind of glanced over it. I always had issues with the spoken word part, at least like taking it seriously. I like parts of it, but that part still just isn't working for me when I run through it. They follow it up with two fucking bangers, though. I like what I Will Destroy This, but I do agree it definitely feels like an album cut. But then they move into Stress, which just is an absolute ripper, man. The closing track, like you said, Cherry Coke, wraps the album up on a more melodic note that might be more of a grower than some of the other music on here, but does follow suit with some of their more recent albums in the way that it wraps up on that softer note. Wraps up for now, I guess, for this rollout. All in all, man, I really liked this. Not quite as much as Misery made me, but I did really like it. High 7, low 8 for me. My standout is Mercy Mercy, but you already knew that, man.
Yeah. The text at 9:15 p.m. on Thursday night, Mercy fucking Mercy gave it away, brother.
Yeah, man, such a good track. Did your vinyl show up yet, or still not till next week?
It did. There's actually a little bit of drama about the variant pressings, and I guess a reminder to people who collect or care
What
about
is
the
it? I
color
want to
of their
know.
records. So I bought the Bloodshot variant. Tons of people did. It was a white record with like a pool of blood coming out from the center. Really cool.
Of
I
course.
guess they didn't use enough of the red pellets to make it actually look like the mock. And so everybody got a white record with like a little bit of pink in it. And it's like barely noticeable. You really got to hold it
Oh
up to the light.
no.
People are pretty mad about it. I think it sounds fucking great, so I don't really care. You know what I mean? But yeah, people are a little perturbed about that, and younger vinyl record collectors are finding out that hey, man, mocks are mocks.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I think there's lessons to be learned on both sides here. But that's interesting. I'll have to look up some pictures of it. All right, man, we got a new one from Youth Lagoon, Rarely Do I Dream. We did not talk about any of these songs in the rollout. I really don't know much about this guy. I heard Speed Freak for the first time a few weeks ago, hit follow, saw he dropped a new album, just threw it on the playlist this week. The overall sound of this album is one of its strongest features for me. It's this like unique blend that I kind of had trouble finding a direct comp for, which my brain cannot do. I have to find a comp for every sound that I hear. It almost sounds like it's written by Cigarettes After Sex, produced by St. Vincent, and performed by Glass Animals. Like that combo shouldn't work, but this specific combo of like indie shoegaze and trip hop is, I guess, what I'm trying to nail down. It really does work for me, man. The album overall, I don't have a ton of thoughts on. I just like it. It's between a 6 and 7 for me. My standout is Speed Freak, but I really liked Perfect World and Saturday Morning Matinee as well. What are your thoughts on this one, man?
We have a similar score and slightly different thoughts. The comps I had were a little different, but
Hit
this is
me.
dreamy. It's gazy. At times, this album is gorgeous, bro. This kind of a sleeper to me in a number of different ways.
Yeah.
Pretty much every time I felt myself not like paying attention to it, it brought me back with some element that I really enjoyed. The three-track run from Speed Freak into Football into Gumshoe is honestly amazing, man, with the
Hmm.
gazy riffs on Speed Freak into the dreamy piano on Football into the local natives type instrumentals on Gumshoe. Just beautiful. The comps I had were it was local natives band with the vocalist from Bare Hands, but um
That's great.
uh there's like a couple of moments on here that are really beautiful, right? Like the instrumentals on Gumshoe really are great.
Yeah.
It's a good indie rock record, man. Album cuts like Saturday Cowboy Matinee and Perfect World are pretty good. I'll be honest though, this is far slower than I normally dig. It's
Yeah.
got this like lackadaisical vibe to it that's like perfect for like certain moments. Like I wake up and I go to work pretty early. I'm on the road like 5:30, 5:40 in the morning to get to work, and the sun is normally either coming up or about to, and it was perfect. It was a perfect kind of dreamy, wake you up, corner drive to work sort of vibe. Not a good record for like traffic on the way home though, you know what I mean? Um
You
and yeah,
needed
I'm
mercy,
sure
mercy for that.
literally every day. So yeah, it's a 6 for me. Speed Freak is really good, man. Speed Freak is a
Great song.
really good track. I want more of that from this dude.
Same, same. I'm glad you liked it too, man. Had you ever heard of this artist before now? Or
I
was
had
this your
heard
introduction to him?
I had heard of Youth Lagoon. I had never actually listened.
Cool. We both started at the same place. That's fun. All right, man. New one from Anxious. It's about goddamn time. Their new album, Bambi, is out. Been dying for your thoughts on this one all week. Did you have time for this and Silverstein, I guess is the main question.
You know that I made time for it, especially with Silverstein being only like 22 minutes.
True.
So when I had first heard Anxious, it was for their album Little Green House a few years ago,
Hmm.
which you and I both fucking loved. Grabbed me pretty much right away, and I loved pretty much everything about that record almost immediately. On this rollout, I loved all the singles, but the album as a whole actually took like a second to click with me for
Very
some reason.
different.
My first listen was a little lackluster, but then as you listen to it, man, these details start to like emerge, right? The track that got it to click for me was actually Bambi's theme. It's got this like pop forward production, which I think kind of took me away from this album for a little bit because it's lacking that kind of rawness, right? But then that guitar melody comes in on Bambi's theme and it's like intertwined with the
Yep.
vocals and everything just like started to fall like into place. Uh, kind of where like I knew it was going to, right? Like we talked about, I think late last year when we were talking about albums that we were anticipating in 2025, and this was probably on top of my list. I think this was prior to Silverstein announcing their music because that would have been my answer. But yeah, it didn't hit the expectation that I wanted it to at first, but I think it grew to it, right? So, of course, all the singles are bangers. We talked about those, but in Counting Sheep has been in just major rotation since it dropped, as I'm sure it has been with you. But we even get some full-on emo with Audrey Go Again as an album cut, which really does have this like early 2000s feel to it.
Hmm.
Tell Me Why should have been a single, if we're being honest, man. This track is fucking great. The drumming and the Jimmy World influence on this one are both so good. As a closer guy, I'll Be Around really ties the room together, man. It has that
Word.
production that the rest of the album has, but I feel like a lot of passion on this one that the production didn't really rug over. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like that might have been my main issue on my first few listens was that the passion that I felt on Little Green House wasn't being portrayed here as emotionally as it did on their last one, man. I did like this album. I liked it quite a bit. I didn't like it as much as Little Green House, but I think if this is your first foray into Anxious, this is going to be your favorite album from them. Which
Yeah, interesting.
I think this is probably where they're going, right? Because Little Greenhouse, nobody knew. Maybe a few thousand, 100,000 or whatever people did, but this one I think is going to put them into the zeitgeist of bands that actually are doing something in the emo scene, and I'm going to give it a excuse me, a 7 out of 10. My standout is Head and Spine or Counting Sheep. Both of those were both singles, but they're both motherfucking bangers.
I
What'd you
agree.
think about this one, John?
Man, we had a lot of the exact same thoughts on this. Mine are phrased a little bit different, but something I did see outside of my notes was I think in an interview they did in the lead up to this album is they said exactly what you just alluded to, which is like this is the album and the band that they wanted to be on Little Greenhouse. They just hadn't grown into that yet. And you and I tend to like these albums when we look back on bands that we followed even 5, 10, sometimes 15 years on. We like those raw albums where bands are finding their sound a little more than the ones where they've found their sound. But those ones where
Hmm.
they've already found their sound, like this, tend to be their most successful overall in the
Yep.
grand scheme of thing. So I think it's kind of a win-win situation for them. And I will be honest, man, I miss the amount of screams their debut had. I think
I
that's putting it
know.
plainly. But I think once I got past that little personal preference note, I enjoyed this album quite a bit like you did, man. They've really grown into this poppy emo sound well. Their songwriting has already improved in the short time between releases. The singles were great, with Head and Spine being my favorite of that bunch. But I knew Bambi's theme was going to be my standout the first moment I heard it, man. It's one of those songs that just instant entry into their hypothetical best of. Everything I love about their sound currently on this album comes together on that song in a way that I could not love anymore, man. Counting Sheep was the lead single off of this album, and it's still getting better every time I listen to it. I love the album opener. There's really not a lot of bad things I can say about this album. It does all the things maybe you don't want it to, but that you expect a sophomore album to do. It's between a 7 and an 8 for me. My standouts are Bambi's theme and Head and Spine, but like you said, man, there's a few on here that are strong contenders for that.
Right. Do you think this will be their three cheers to everyone else's bullets?
Man, that's a interesting comp, man. Yeah,
Well,
I feel like this might be more the cork tree to the take this to your grave. I feel like that feels
okay. That
maybe a
feels
little
like a
more
better
emo
comp. You're
than
right. No,
pop
you're
punk,
right.
but
You're
it
right.
feels a little more like that to me. Um, All right, man, we got a new Killswitch Engage album, This
We
Consequence.
did.
Yeah, we did, man. If you remember listening to it at all, what are your thoughts on it?
All right, so this is a Kill Switch Engage album. You
Hmm.
can tell by the way that it is. I don't
Yep.
honestly have too much more to say about this record, man. It's his seasoned musicians making great metalcore like they have for 20 plus years. Jesse sounds great, as is tradition for him. Band sounds tight as ever. There aren't any production changes on this album from their previous 7, 8, 10, 12 albums. And look, man, it's a Killswitch album. They killed this sound. I think they will continue to do this at a high level for a little while longer. And those are my thoughts. Just want to shout out Sean, my homie. Him and I talked about this record, and he really enjoyed it. I think he liked it more than I did. But I like this for what it is. It's a Jesse Leach Killswitch Engage album, and that is, I think, never going to go out of style, if that makes sense. It's a 6.5 for me. I don't really have a standout.
Oh man, I disagree with you and your friend. I'm sorry, but yeah, I
Okay,
had I
let's
had a
go.
feeling that I would not like this album when we talked about that most recent single. And it's sad to get the confirmation for me. Very, very little about this album does anything for me. And like I said, it's not just like a Howard or Jesse Leach era thing. They're just at this stage where the music doesn't make me feel anything anymore. Like there's the occasional riff or growl or whatever they make that they do on here where I'm like, cool. But like that's where my enjoyment of this album just ends. It's a shell of a band that I used to love, and it brings me no joy to say that I did not enjoy this. It's a 3 or 4 for me on my enjoyment scale, maybe not in terms of like musical quality, but just in terms of how much I liked it, it's around that range. Standout if I have to choose is Aftermath. This one just didn't work for me, man.
You know what, man? They're not all going to work for you.
I think that's fair. All right. Got a new one from Sex Mex, 16 minutes of hits. Talk to me about this one.
Oh man. So I threw this album on because this is so much fun, man. This is clearly just a punk band who gives exactly zero fucks about anything that you think about them. It sounds like it was recorded via like a shitty mic on the cheapest amp they could find used at Guitar Center. And I, for one, am a gigantic fan of that. Um, I, this is exactly what punk should be, man. In my opinion, distorted rock music with two-step beat and zero fucks given about how you're portraying yourself. Big fan of this. I'm actually becoming a pretty big fan of this band because of just how much fun I have when I'm listening to their music. I hope they continue to make music and continue to make music with this vibe. 6.5 out of 10 for me. I liked the whole thing. It is, after all, 16 minutes of hits.
I knew you were gonna love this. I thought it was okay. It's some like no frills punk that you can easily dance to. There's nothing wrong with that. Straightforward, cohesive, moves along very quickly. Even though it's short, I do think it gets a tad bit repetitive tonally, but I think that's just to be expected with this style of music. I like it more than I don't, but I'm not sure like how often I will have the itch to listen to this. It's between a high 5, low 6 for me. Fucking It Up is my standout, though. I will agree that is a hit for sure. All right, man. New one from the Mummy Cats. Feels Like Action. We talked about one of their singles a few weeks ago. What'd you think about the album?
We did, man. This album is like the Sex Max record, just really a lot of fun. I've been kind of really digging the whole DIY punk thing again. I discovered punk before I discovered metal, and it's kind of like coming all full circle for me lately. And the Mummy Cats are kind of scratching an itch that needed to have that needs to be scratched. You know what I mean? Tracks like Love Letter are so good, bro. The drum solo on that one is fucking great. The bass tone on this album, whoever mixed the bass on this album, give this man an award or woman an award. The lyrical inflections are all so good. Like the vocal inflections are so good on this record, man. It's reminding me of like the Addicts, but like with like a little personal flair twist here. Man, I love a lot about this record. Most of all, I like that it's like 30 minutes of fantastic, like actual. It feels like DIY punk music, and that's what it sounds like. And I love that, man. What
Yeah.
did you think about this Mummy Cats record?
Dude, I dug it. It's weird and riffy music that it constantly blurs this line between nonsense and genius, but it remains fun and engaging throughout. The way they slam into riffs with ease before pulling everything back, so all the focus is on the lyrics and the vocal delivery is just done so well from song to song. The melodies are anything but predictable, yet somehow still catchy. Lyrics are very topical in a way that I enjoy. One of my only knocks on this album is that it just feels a little bit front loaded, but the back half has its moments as well, man. Particularly the end of Nameless Faces and the Bananas closer Atomic Locomotive. But any criticism
So
I have
good.
against this album is fairly minor, man. I went in with no expectations. Had a really good time, man. High six, low seven for me. My standout is Love Letter. That song is great.
Love Letter is so good.
Last album to talk about this week is a new compilation from Boys Noise Records that more or less is just answering the question, what is techno in 2025? What does it mean? The album's called Ones and Zeros. It features some Boys Noise Records names we've heard on here before, a lot I had never heard, and two from the man himself. Man, the first of which is just an immediate entry into the best dance songs of the year conversation. Him and Lock Club
100%.
kill it on that one. Built for clubs, just as good as wherever or whenever you want to listen to it. My standout of the non-Boys Noise produced tracks on this compilation is There Is Something I Can't Find by KFR. Uh, it has this old school dance DNA in it that I'm always a big fan of. I think that there's something for dance fans of all kinds on here, though, man. We get some hard style, some house, and of course some techno, all of which has that trademark Boys Noise Records flair to it. I didn't give it a score since it's a compilation, but it's an emphatic two thumbs up from Big Surprise the Big Boys Noise Records heads over here. What did you end up thinking about this one?
Hey man, this is a Boys Noise compilation record, and you know how much we like those around here. Reminds me of this is their 20th anniversary. This is regarding the 20th anniversary of Boys Noise Records. And that is kind of special specifically to me because went to their 10-year anniversary party at Hard Summer in 2015, and it makes me not only feel old but very grateful that I've been kind of rocking with BNR for so long because I've gotten a decade or two of great fucking music from this record label and
Yeah.
this label head. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had sent you an email that I had received from Boys Noise Records, of which I am apparently an email subscriber to, and it kind of just hit home a little bit, man. It's basically like, what is techno and why is it still so popular? And if it is, let's just fucking do it. And that's exactly what this compilation record is, man. Sidewinder by Safety Trance is amazing. Ring My Bells by Locked Club is so good. Like you said, CDX Oda is fucking awesome
So
with
good.
Boys Noise. If anybody had Boys Noise sampling Travis Scott on their 2025 bingo card, I want to meet that person like really badly. um we've got some great ones, bro. Like the Control Freak by Shaq, I think is how you pronounce that, is wild. Tinker Hell is hilarious name with Crossways.
Yeah.
I really liked the Scientist track. Feedback is really good. It's kind of madness, but it's kind of still like a lot of fun. Let It Go by Basak is wild, way too much. Um, the last three tracks are so good though, bro. DJ Wi-Fi with Like to Ride, Aero Nova with Bite, and Sirena by Boys Noise, of which I believe I sent you the music video today, and it is just
Cursed.
absolutely unfucking hinged.
Yeah, as if
And
the Ally McBeal baby tried to go to Berghain.
Oh my God, man. I felt cathartic for some reason to watch a really shitty CGI baby dance with a bunch of crabs.
Thank you,
But what
Boys
I
Noise.
love about this track is that he kind of brings in all of the stuff that he was doing a decade ago. He
Yep.
brings in, excuse me, he brings in I believe one of the samples from Lava Lava are in there, from Oi Oi Oi. And it really just kind of, this track brings the entire compilation record home. And here's to 20 more fucking years of Boys Noise Records, because my God,
Yep.
this is so much fun.
It's so fucking good, man. Great way to cap off the playlist this week. I'm glad that we realized it wasn't just a new Boys Noise song and had all these new songs to check out because this one was so much fun every day to go through.
100%.
All right, man, we're gonna have another fun week next week. We got new albums dropping this week from the Architects, or I guess just Architects. I'm gonna put the in front of every artist. The
Or you go to the
Architects, the
Costco.
Banks, the Currency, the Lisa, the Shy Girl, and the more. Please, you can find our rotating playlist, the link to it in the show notes. You can also find us on Instagram and Reddit. Just search Brandon's Face Pod. Give us a follow. Say hi. We will see y'all next time. Peace.
Peace.